because it will be a game that is remembered for the rest of your life. Regardless of the very first day of fall camp, I talk about two teams. Right? I talk about Miami and I talk about this one. And everybody wants to win this game because it will be a game that is remembered for the rest of your life. Regardless of who the coach is, regardless of what it does not make it. What was the outcome? And everything that you do throughout the course of the season is going to prepare you for the moment. And you've either done the job, you've learned from the experiences, and you can go apply it for 60 minutes during that game, or you don't. And you have to live with the results. And so do I want our guys to be at an all-time high come Saturday? Absolutely. Because I know what this game means. And if you don't get up for this one, then go somewhere else. Go do something else because it is not for you. Right? But you watch the history, you watch tradition, you know what it means to the university, you know what it means to the fan base. Man, this is why you play. This is why you coach, and it's to get guys for this moment. But everything we've done up to this point has prepared us. We'll either take advantage of it or we won't.
I never talked to them boys that sat on them benches. I was in the game on 4th and inches.
A happy early Thanksgiving to everyone. It is your boy POLK over here on 863 Seminole TV. Another episode of The Hangover. UF Hate Week. And there's a lot of stuff to talk about, I feel like, today. A lot of stuff. I feel like my volume's not that high, so give me a minute. Mic check. Hold on. Mic check. Okay, we sound a lot better now. Okay. What is going on, everybody? It's your boy POLK, a.k.a. a.k.a. the goddamn troop. A happy early Thanksgiving to everybody. Obviously, tomorrow's the big day. Thanksgiving has always been my favorite holiday, so shout out to everybody. I love to eat, so Thanksgiving has always been my favorite holiday. But today, on The Hangover, man, we're going to talk about this Florida game. We're going to talk about some recruiting. We're going to talk about the mess that is the Florida Gators and how everything just seems to continue to go in our favor when it comes to these guys, man. And we got so much more. I'm ready to get it started. As always, before we get started, we will do a roll call here shortly. So go on, come on in, hit that like button. As always, before you come in here, don't come in here and freeload. Hit my like button. Ring my doorbell, blase, as I always say. You guys know the rules. You guys know the routine. We'll give it a little bit more time. 15 people in the chat. I know Florida State is playing. I think the basketball team is playing right now. As a matter of fact, we'll pay attention to that. I know a lot of you guys paying attention to that probably. Let's check that score real quick, and then we'll get into this roll call. Actually, I don't see Florida State. Give me a minute. There it is. Florida State versus Boston University. The Noles are up 12-8. So we will pay attention to that game as our Seminole basketball team plays Boston University, while of course talking about what we all came here to talk about. So let's get this roll call going, man, and let's get this episode underway. Mr. Wolf's in the building, Jacarius, FSU Tony, Jay, Jen, Island Boy, Nicholas, Jeff, Mason, Boxing Monster, Ray, Fitty, Mayan, King, Rose, and Todd Pope, and I'm sure more will trickle in as we continue. I know I'm a little earlier than I usually go on, but it's Thanksgiving Eve, and some of y'all might be cooking. I don't know. You know, I'm not doing a lot of cooking myself. I mean, I got the turkey marinating, and then I'm gonna fry that, but I ain't gonna fry that till tomorrow. Reality music and entertainment was going on, but more so on my Thanksgiving Eve. You know, I gotta be a taste tester, man. I gotta be a taste tester. So it's 7 p.m. on the East Coast, so I think we're making solid time. I'm not sipping on nothing yet, but by the end of the night, I'll probably indulge in something here or there. But let's get it started. Ray Fitty, reality music, Florida State love. Hey, don't ever apologize for being late. I'm just happy you came through, my man. D. Thompson, my Air Force brethren. FSU up 16-8 on Boston U. Let's do it. Recruiting. Let's start with the recruiting, man. Good stuff. Julian Armella. You guys know me. I've been very high on these Florida State legacies, man. We all know who my white whale is. But Julian might be just as important. And with him dropping a top 4, that consists of, let's go over his top 4, man. What up, BB, man? Glad to see you in here. Not a lot of Gator fans usually. BB and Destroyer are like the only two that I usually interact with. Good to see BB in here. Julian Armella drops the top 4 of Alabama, LSU, Florida State, and Florida. Now, I don't think you have to be a genius to pick this one. As I routinely say over here, I'm no insider. I have no sources. I'm just a guy on YouTube that gives my opinion and talks football. If I was in the business of dropping crystal balls, there probably wouldn't be an easier crystal ball than Julian Armella right now to Florida State. 2 of the 4 teams don't have coaches. 2 of the 4 teams have the exact same record as Florida State. And one team that would be considered the big threat. Go to your Alabama message boards. Go listen to their insiders. They're not really actively in it for Julian. Bama has a class, and they're at a point, as Bama does every year, they pick and choose who they want, man. So they go on after the elite guys to close this thing out. Alabama has already recruited. They already have guys like Elijah Pritchett and some of these other guys signed. I'm not saying they wouldn't want them, but from my understanding, they're not really actively in his recruitment. I think you could crystal ball Julian Armella to Florida State. So that's good news for Florida State to have that. He was supposed to take a Florida visit, but Florida has shut down all visits for this upcoming weekend. That's usually standard procedure when a team fires a coach. So there will be no, I think Basaint was actually supposed to visit Florida as well. I think Julian and Basaint were supposed to visit Florida this weekend, and it's not happening, at least as far as on Florida's dime. I mean, I guess they could still attend the game as a fan if they wanted to, but Florida won't be hosting any of these kids. So, I mean, shout out to Florida. They were somehow fire Dan Mullen. They actually received a D-line commitment yesterday. I think he's actually a top 100 guy, by the way. So, I mean, that guy obviously didn't care whether they have a coach or not. He just wants to be a Gator. But I think FSU's in a good place when you start talking about recruiting against Florida and the likes, and even Miami. The state of Florida is in disarray, and quite frankly, Florida State is the most cohesive, stable situation right now in the state. Mike's not going anywhere anytime soon, people. The good news about that is that he has everything pretty much trending upwards. 5-2 in the last 7, has a chance to go 6-2 here, can finish the season 7-2. What's not to like about that? Here's the funny part. Still on the recruiting, by the way. Brandy Franklin, what's going on with you? Here's the funny part. The recruiting for this week. Travis Hunter. Now, we all know Travis Hunter can't go a day without somebody, and they're usually Florida State fans. Man, I hope Travis Hunter sticks. You think Travis Hunter's flipping. Where's Travis Hunter going to go? There's no way. Florida State, as a fan base, man, we're just dealing with so much PTSD that we can't believe that Florida State would even, that Florida State would even be able to sign a kid. You know, anybody who remembers that the good days knows Florida State can sign those caliber of kids, but Florida State in the last 4 years, man, we don't sign these type of kids. Well, the recent rumors hit the mill or hit the web hard, started by those good old boys over there in Athens. You would think they'd be focused on winning a national championship and not focused on, spreading blatant lies. But a rival's insider, I guess you would call him, beat writer, a guy who works for the Rivals Georgia page. There's a reason why I use 247 in the 247 composite, but that's neither here nor there. Picked Travis Hunter to flip to Georgia without really any knowledge of the situation. Other than that, about a month ago, the man, I think, took 2 visits to Athens. Now, to be fair, when you're Travis Hunter, I don't think he's been committed to us for so long. I think we're kind of spoiled. I don't really think you understand the quality of prospect he is. He hasn't even signed his LOI yet, but if you go look at FSU's 247, Travis Hunter is the second highest commit ever in Florida State's history. Number 1 being Ernie Sims. Travis Hunter is the highest DB prospect in the modern era. Highest rated DB prospect in the modern era. You're talking guys like Derwin James, Patrick Peterson. I think before him, it was Ted Ginn, who ironically ended up being a wide receiver. Travis Hunter is a prospect that does not come along every 10 years. Like that's what you're looking at here. He's going to get this type of attention. I know he's probably tired of it, but guess what, young man? I'm sorry to say, it comes with the territory. It comes with the territory. But like he always does, like my guy always does, he shuts the rumors down, and he shuts them down emphatically. He doesn't mince his words. He doesn't say, well, I'm committed, but looking. He just flat out says, stop. Stop worrying. And of course, yesterday shuts down the Georgia fans that were spreading these rumors. And then, of course, Georgia takes the post down because there was nothing to it. At this point, Florida State fans, I would not be worrying about Travis Hunter. Just wouldn't be worried about it. I don't think there's anything to worry about. So that's really all the recruiting that we have for this week. Because Florida has shut down their visits for this game, you had a chance to make another impression on Basaint. You're not going to get that opportunity. The rumor on, not a rumor, but I think I heard Florida State will get the last in-home visit before Basaint decides. That's definitely a plus. Definitely a plus. Trying to think of some other prospects, man, before we move on. Obviously, we know Marvin Jones Jr. Armel is going to be a big-time get. Definitely seals. I think Armella probably seals the trenches. You lose by and you replace him with Armella, that's an upgrade. Like, lose by, which we'd be dumb to say it wasn't a loss, right? But you lose by, but you upgrade that. I think that's a good thing there. And I'm trying to think of other guys. Maybe you guys might be tracking something, but I'm not at this point. Sergeant AR Basaint. Here we go. Basaint coming here. And Sammy Hayes, what's going on with you? I think having that last visit is big, Boxing Monster. I think a lot of it depends on whatever Miami. I think in his heart he wants to be a Hurricane. Basaint does, or at least he really wants to stay home. I think he has a great relationship with Sabbath and Shannon, so that's really helping us there. But I think he wants to at least see what Miami does, and the longer Miami takes with this hire that, according to them, was in the books a month ago, and the longer they take trying to find this AD, and the longer they take figuring out who the next head coach is, I think it's the better for us when it comes to Wesley. Basketball team is playing like trash. What's the score? Last I checked, Florida State was up. And now we are still up 23-20, 23-22, Boston University. So I think they've got some good momentum, good vibes, and recruiting. But when we get to this game is so interesting to me. This game is so interesting to me. On paper, I don't know if this game should be close. Think about this. Florida's heading into the rivalry game. The game after Thanksgiving. Florida's heading into this game with no head coach, no defensive coordinator, no offensive line coach, no quarterback, or at least not the quarterback that's been starting for them. And then Anthony Richardson has been banged up himself. Is he even 100%? So much is supposed to go in Florida State's favor that I'm almost getting too worried. I'll come back to this one, Ray. Give me a minute. But I'm almost getting too worried about this game. The reason I'm saying this is like, and I don't really care what Vegas says, but Vegas is usually fairly smart. But I think Florida's still a 2-point favorite, a 2.5-point favorite in this game. And maybe that has to do with, playing in the swamp. I'm even hearing Florida fans are selling their tickets for this game to a lot of FSU fans. FSU could take over the swamp come Saturday. Florida, its fans, its players seem to have quit on this season. And yet, I personally believe that the players are not going to come in there and lay down. I personally believe that those kids are going to show up and play. I really do. I'm hoping that the team doesn't get a false sense of security is what I'm kind of getting at. Because on paper, man, FSU should maybe run away with this. There's a chance we could see their third string quarterback, Del Rio or whatever. There's a chance we could actually legit see him in this game. Man, we match up fairly well. We'll get into the matchups a little later, but just on paper, I don't know how Florida plans to be in this game. I'm not even gonna lie to you. You ain't got a head coach. You ain't got a D coordinator. I mean, I'm guessing you're just gonna run what you've been running all year from Dan Mullen's playbook. Emory Jones is out for the game. He's been the quarterback all year for you. Richardson, we know he's dynamic with his legs, but he does not. I don't fear anything he can do with his arm, but he's very dynamic with his legs. Very dynamic with his legs. But the man's been dealing with some knee problems for the last couple weeks. Man, this game could be very interesting. I'm not predicting a blowout because FSU's not at the caliber to be blowing opponents out. So you won't hear me say that. We are not there to be. We're not there yet. But man, on paper, Ray 50 says, "Polk, you think we should go after that DN that hit the portal at Tennessee? That was once. You're talking about Marvin Joseph. You actually bring up a good point that I was going to talk about a little later. I'll talk about it a little bit right now. And that was kind of like our off-season projections of what we should attack in the portal. And I think they should at least target one DN in the portal. But I think you've signed so many. At a certain point, you need to trust your development process. It's a little bit too early. I don't know if Morven's the best guy out there. I would wait and see who else hits the portal, and then go from there. But I do think when you talk about Kier and Jermaine leaving, that's a big drop off. You're probably not going to find two guys like the odds of you finding two guys in the portal again, not high. At least try to find one and hope that some of your other guys have developed. If best case scenario, right? You land Marvin Jones Jr. I don't think Marvin Jones Jr., as good as he is day one gonna play every snap, right? Definitely will be in the rotation, but I don't think he's a day one full-time starter. I hope you've been developing your George Wilsons, your Patrick Paysons, your Sambry Jacksons, your Byron. I know Byron Turner had a season and an injury, so I'm not sure how much they got at him. But hopefully you're developing guys under that. Your McClendons, your Fullers, all of those guys. You still got Marcus Cushney for next year. He's been quiet this year. Frankly, they haven't needed him like I thought they might have needed him because Kier and Jermaine have been so dominant. But you still got Cushney for next year. I think the defensive end position has a lot of players, a lot of bodies, a lot of talent, and if you can get that one guy that could be a legit difference maker, sure. But I wouldn't take the same amount of numbers they took last year. I don't think they need to do that again this year. I don't see this FSU team getting ahead of themselves. I expect an aggressive bunch on those back-to-back side games. What up, Peter? Happy Thanksgiving to you. This game scares me because they have nothing to lose, so it's a lot of trick plays, fake punts coming. We got to stay focused 4 quarters, bring it home. I see a 4-star. There's a bunch of wide receivers that's hitting the portal. They are actively engaged with the guy that just recently left Oregon. I forget his name. You look at you look a lot like I don't even know who that is. I've been thinking about it since Duke basketball started. Cushney, Hester. You are bringing in Aaron Hester. Yes, you are. Peyton, Wilson, Jones Jr., Fuller, McClendon, Jackson. This staff better develop these guys. What's up, a dang bay? And move Gaynor to DN where he belongs. I don't know what they're. Maybe Gaynor makes that move eventually, but I don't know. I still don't know what they're gonna do with Gaynor. And but yeah, this game, Florida State. The only thing about Florida that really worries me, Mekhi Pittman, yeah, that's his name. The only thing about Florida that really worries me, FSU's offensive line is banged up. Now, Darius Washington has practiced this week from what we've been hearing, but how healthy is he really going to be? Gibbons and Love Taylor, man, they've been dealing with nagging things all year. Maurice Smith, man, look, I don't like to knock Maurice. I think he plays hard, and I think he's a good player, but he's small. And he was small at the beginning of the year when I wanted to move like Gibbons to center, and he's still small. And I don't like Maurice Smith matched up. What's that Florida D lineman? It's Dexter. He's a big boy. I don't like that matchup. I think if you want to talk about portals, we definitely got to address the center position in the portal. I don't know if Brian Estes is the future there. I don't know who's the future at center. I don't know if you move Gibbons and maybe target another guard somewhere in the portal or what's the deal there. But the Florida D line is the only part that worries me for this game. Obviously, Anthony Richardson, if he's the starter and he's still got the juice in his legs, he's going to make plays. He's going to break some runs. But if you're going to tell me that he has to run for 100 yards to move that offense, you'll live with that. Just don't let him start beating you with his arm. Other than that, though, I don't think that Florida's defense is very good outside of its defensive line that I think is solid. I don't think it's as good as ours by any stretch. But with the fact, if our offensive line was healthy, I don't know if they could stop our offense, to be honest with you. But our O-line is not healthy. The O-line is not healthy. Florida's defensive line is solid. It can get pressure. And but everything behind that, I think, is pretty weak. We don't have the best receivers maybe to make that secondary pay like some other schools have, but teams have been able to just line up and run the ball. I mean, look what LSU did against Florida. Teams have been able to line up and just run. Our strength is just lining up and running. So if Anthony Richardson catches fire, you could see a shootout in this game. Again, but on paper, man, it's really hard for me to look at this game on paper with everything that's going on with the University of Florida and really think that the Gators have a chance in this game. And you couldn't say that at the beginning of the season. There was no way at the beginning of the season anybody looked at this game and thought, even best case scenario, because people thought Florida was going to come back this year and be like they was last year. Remember last year, you had Kyle Trash and who's the tight end, man? The all-world tight end, the next Calvin Johnson. You had him. Pittman, right? Tony. Last year, they had a legit offense. Their defense was bad last year, too, but last year they had a legit offense. All of that just floundered away this year. And I don't think anybody expected Florida to take the dive that it's taking. The fact that FSU, Vegas is saying we're not favored, but I think most people in college football, if you ask them, they'd say they have a good feeling Florida State is going to win this game. So a lot of ways, man, it's not even a lot to kind of go over, dissect, and discuss. It's just, will Florida State not lose focus? We definitely need a kicker in the portal or the signing class. Fitzgerald ain't it. Yeah, I don't want to waste the scholarship on a kicker. I'm not even going to lie to you. Until you have to, which is when those kickers that you have on the roster graduate. I'm not what you scholarships are a premium asset. You only have so many of them. You don't waste one on a kicker. Guess what? Just get Fitzgerald right. Or if he can't get right, stop kicking field goals. It's really that simple. Score, get the offense in the end zone. But no, I'm not wasting a scholarship on a kicker, Ray. That is a waste of a scholarship. That's like the Bucks taking Aguayo in the second round when they had so many other deficiencies on that team. You just nope. We need linebackers. I definitely think a linebacker is positioned for the portal. I think linebacker, wide receiver, and O-line, to me, are the three top. Now you have some other positions. Do you add a quarterback to not necessarily compete with Travis, but to compete for the second string job? Because right now, Tate Rodemaker is your second string quarterback if anything happens to Travis next year. Again, do you take a defensive end? Do you take a DN with the fact that the production that you're about to lose here is going to be drastic? Do you take one and see if you can kind of catch, lightning in the bottle, so to speak, again? Amante says, if we win out, how do you think that impacts recruits? I mean, if we win out and the team that started 0-4 ends up 7-6, if there's we win out, I think Marvin Jones Jr. is a lock. I already think Armella's a lock, personally. I think you get one of them linebackers. I don't know if you get Tolan or Basaint. I think Basaint's the most realistic one at this point. We need one of those guys for sure. Maybe a Jared Williams. I don't know if they're still actively recruiting him. I don't know if he's even still actively. He said he was 100% to Georgia Tech, but that guy's recruitment's been funny. You got to get one of these backers. I am not one of those people that believe Earl Little will be a Seminole. I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. The only possible way that happens is if that kid from California pushes Earl Little out of that class at Alabama. And from what I hear, I hear that's not the case. I hear actually they plan on taking Earl if he still wants to go there. So I don't think Earl Little's gonna happen. I don't think a Kamari Wilson's gonna happen. Some of those guys, but I think the core guys that we want to get, I think we're gonna get. Kevin Coleman is still one of those guys who I don't necessarily believe it. I still say him missing the Miami game was telling to me. He chose to go to Oregon instead of Miami that weekend. That's just my opinion. But he's probably your biggest offensive weapon that's on the board. Man, I wanted FSU to beat Clown Mullen. If we win out, I think top 10 for sure. They need a center from Wisconsin. He was at the FSU. He was. Teams can take 32 players this year. I think teams are only limited to 25 scholarships. So I don't know about that, Mayan. Let me put it to you like this. If you don't believe me or if you think I'm mistaken, by the way, FSU was up 32-25 in the basketball game. If you go check your 247s and go look at all of the recruiting classes, the numbers are getting small. What do I mean? No one, Georgia, Bama, no one has a class over 25. Penn State has 25 on the dot, which means they might they're probably done recruiting for their cycle. They probably hit on all their guys. And if another guy does pop up, they probably drop a guy or two that, not Bama could take at 19. Why would Bama not want Armella in the class? Well, that's because Bama has some other guys on the board. No one is over 25 commits right now. You're not allowed to take over 25 for this upcoming year. Now, I don't think that includes your transfer guys. So you got 25 high school kids, and then you add with the portal, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm almost positive. And I'm just scrolling down just to make sure. There's not a team in the country that has over 25 commits. And there's only one that has 25 on the dot. Well, I see Marshall with 27. So we'll see how that works out for Marshall. So I don't know. I could be wrong, though. What happened to AJ? AJ who? Our quarterback? Nothing's happened to AJ. I just don't think AJ is going to come in. If you're asking about backup quarterback, I don't think AJ is going to come in and be the backup quarterback year one. I think AJ is a good prospect. I don't think he's a day one contributing prospect. He needs a year of seasoning and marination, like I got that turkey downstairs doing. Bradley says getting a QB and transfer without the possibility of significant minutes severely diminishes the quality of the QB you can get. Getting a QB to transfer without the possibility of significant minutes, I get what you're saying, right? It's going to be hard to tell a guy, we want you to come here, but you're not guaranteed to start. Usually when a kid transfers out, it's for playing purposes, and if he's going to transfer somewhere, right, it's going to be to play. I don't disagree with you. But I am kind of on the boat here, and this is on my own personal opinion. I think it's time to believe in this guy, Jordan Travis. And I don't think it benefits him by giving him another offseason where he has to look over his shoulder. Confidence plays a big key in that quarterback position, man. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the fact that he hasn't had to look over his shoulder, he's just been more confident, and he's played his best football games of his life the last few weeks against Miami. 270 was a career high for him. Last week, he goes for 250 and 3 touchdowns. Like, he wasn't doing that before. Somebody commented on one of the videos talking about how harsh I was, and it's about time I came around on Travis, and my only response was, when did he show me this before? I wasn't going to put blind faith in him when he never showed me none of this. Now you're showing it to me. Hey, you make a believer out of me, right? Not afraid to admit when I'm wrong. So it was hard. It's hard for me to. It was not hard. I don't know if that should be the approach. Is the chip away at his confidence again? But I agree. It's going to be hard to convince a transfer to come in and say, well, you're not going to play, but instead we want you to compete for the second job. I feel very confident in this game. I think our defense plays like it's been playing, and we get 2 touchdown lead by half. I think the Gators might quit. Quitting in the swamp, I don't know if that'd be something, wouldn't it? I watched LSU run the same counter on Florida the entire game with their DC there. Their front seven ain't all that. No, their linebackers aren't all that. I think their D line is adequate though. I thought they were allowing schools to bring up to 30 kids. Well, maybe it is. You're the second person that said that. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think 30 is the number though. That sounds ridiculous to me. Yeah, that's the same thing that I think Lane Kiffin is. You want to talk about the coaching carousel real quick? James Franklin every year is mentioned in one of these top tier. Every time a premier job opens up, James Franklin, he was mentioned for Florida State. He uses James Franklin has mastered the art of using these coaching openings to sign extensions and get Penn State to give him more money, and boom, Penn State said, we're finally sick of it, man. 10-year extension. I think that's what Lane Kiffin's doing at Ole Miss. I think the only reason a person like Lane Kiffin leaks that he's interested in a Miami job, or he's 8-2 or 9-2 in the SEC West, is to say, hey, Ole Miss, teams want me. You might want to drop the bag on me. James Franklin did it. Because I know he was heavily rumored to USC. I think Dave Aranda goes to USC. We need at least 2 O-line transfers, 1 big every down running back, 230. I don't think we need the 230 running back. How many schools are using that type of back? FSU. Yeah, I don't think you can't. Najee Harris, but Najee Harris didn't play like he was 230 in the sense of his shiftiness and all of that. Like, I don't think we need to. We definitely, to me, don't need to take a running back. Depending on who you lose on the inside, I don't disagree with the D lineman. Maybe one tackle and one defensive end. I think three's pushing it. Especially with you got to start trusting in your high school players, man. I'm going to say it again. I've said it before. The transfer portal is good and all. You can patch holes in the transfer portal. Definitely utilize it. But with some of these numbers y'all are using, you're trying to build an entire team off of it. You build your team off of high school kids. Then you can patch immediate, you can plug in immediate guys where you can fill in. FSU's recruited a ton of D linemen over the past, especially last year. And then they brought a bunch of guys in the portal. Like I said, Cushnie's still available. You signed 5 or 6 defensive ends. You got 2 defensive tackles committed right now. If Tyree West commits, I think Tyree West has a chance to be in the rotation immediately. You got to start playing some of these. You got to start trusting your development and start playing some of these high schools. Travis is the starter next year. Now, who is the backup? I don't know. Now, as of right now, it's Rodemaker, man. I totally agree on trusting Travis. I'm just saying that handcuffs. And I agree with you, Briley. Though I definitely agree. Rest in peace to Dolph, Parsons, Duffy. What's up, Kilo? It depends on who transfers out, so it's 1 for 1. Got you. Okay, Mind King. It makes sense. What up, Chad? Sexton worked his magic for Franklin. Are any predictions where we will end up ranking in recruits? I think top 10, especially if we win out. I think top 15 is all but guaranteed. You know me. I think Marvin Jones. You can't convince me that Marvin Jones is going anywhere else but here. But I think Armella is about as lock as you can get. Then you still talking about bringing over Tyree West, who everybody's saying that's Florida State bound. That's Cristobal. If they can get a Coleman, though I don't believe so. I mean, let's just put it like this. Let's say Florida State hits on their major guys, Armella, Marvin Jones Jr., and Kevin Coleman and Tyree West. Those are your last 4 major guys right there. Who else is left on the board at that point? We're missing a linebacker, so Basaint. Let's say those are the 5 big fish left. Basaint, Coleman, Marvin, Julian, and Tyree. You hit on all 5 of those, that's easily a top 10 class. So you might even be flirting in that 7-6 spot, flirting with that 5, that top 5 spot. Those are the quality of the players that they're going after. Now, let's say realistically, even if you win out, let's say realistically, though, that was best case scenario. Realistically, I think Julian Armella's, I think, in there. Tyree West, I think, is in there. I think we probably miss on Basaint, personally. I don't believe that we get in Landon Basaint. I think Marvin Jones is in there. I know that's a tough battle with Bama, but I think Marvin Jones is in there. And then who's the other one that I'm forgetting? I said Julian's in there. Wes is in there. Coleman. I don't think we get Coleman. So even if you land 3 out of the 5, which is a great ratio, I think that's definitely top 10, man. I still think that's top 10. 37-35 FSU at the half. Oh, for the basketball game. I was like, what? That's going to be the halftime score? Okay, that's the basketball game. I'm tracking, Nicholas. Don't let me lose you. I was like, you predicting a shootout in the first half. Portal needs 1 DN. I'm with that. 2 linebackers. Yeah, depending on if you can recruit one or not, especially if you miss out on recruiting one, definitely want to take. Yeah, I can see that. You definitely need a wide receiver. I would see that, and that's where I differ. Like, maybe give me 1 linebacker. Because I think you got Deloach. Now just give him some help. And I'm very interested to see what they do with Jadarius Green McKnight, who they move in the linebacker. I think he can play that. I think FSU needs about 2 or 3 receivers, man, in that portal. 2 or 3. 3 might be a little excessive, but definitely 2. Definitely 2. Because newsflash, I don't believe Dustin Hill's coming in January. Please prove me wrong, young man, because I was very high on you coming out of high school, and I wanted you on this team. And if you would have been on this team this year, you probably would have been wide receiver number 1 for this team. But I don't believe that he sat out this entire time to all of a sudden show up in January. Hey, guys, I'm home. Like, I don't believe it. Don't believe it. Hope I'm wrong. I think you need at least 2 wide receivers in the portal. And I wouldn't be mad at taking a third one. They took 3 DNs last year. I would not be mad at taking a third one. And I think you need one. They already got 1 O-line transfer, who I think, not sure how much of a tackle he is, but maybe you could push him inside. I think another one is definitely should be in the works. Trav, 1.5 TD passes against the Turds this weekend. Man, I didn't think last week he'd hit 3. I'm going to say 2. So I'm going to go over. I'm going to say he has 2 touchdown passes through the air. And I'm going to say he has 4. Jordan Travis goes 2 through the air, 2 on the ground. He's for sure going to get 1 on the ground, maybe. I'm going to say Jordan Travis 4 total touchdowns. I'm going to go out there and say that. Watch me be totally wrong. Transfer portal is like the lotto. Got to play to win, but if you start trying to pay your bills with it, yes, thank you. Thank you, Briley. You couldn't say it any better. You start trying to pay your bills with it, you're going to end up broke. You think Brownlee moves to safety next year so Hunter can play? No, I think Brownlee starts off as 1 starter. I don't think Travis Hunter next year, as great as he is, the kid is 6'1", 6'2", 160 pounds. I don't think he's an every down player next year. Now he's going to sign early, get him in the weight room. We'll see all of that. I think Brownlee starts the season off. Now, if Hunter pushes him and beats him, he just beats him. Because I don't like Brownlee at safety more than Jamie Robinson or Akeem Dent. So why change it if it ain't broke? Guess what? Brownlee's just there for to be a very good this way. Hey, when we got to rotate guys because guys are tired, the quality of player don't drop. Like right now, when you got a Marion Cooper in there, we all feel pretty comfortable in him. But I don't know about you guys, but every time I see number 7 lined up, I have a heart attack. Because if I'm an offensive coordinator, I'm targeting number 7 every time he's on the field. Well, that quality improves when instead of throwing Jerry in out there, maybe you're throwing a Brownlee out there instead, or a Travis Hunter out there instead. Yeah, our basketball is kind of bad, but that's a very young basketball team. It is. Seminole J says, Polk, this is off topic, but I'm more worried about BC than I am. You were more worried about BC than you were Florida? I understand it. But that rivalry game, we can't scoff at it. Do you think we have a shot at Barnes, the running back? He's been penciled to Oklahoma for a long time. I hear his family likes Florida State. That's one of those where I was surprised he was even at the Miami game. I would probably say it's a long shot at this point. Is Demore Tate? He is. Demore Tate is still on the team. That's another guy who could crack that rotation next year. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm still 50-50 on Mike as our head coach. Fair enough. Earl Little, again, don't believe he's coming. 7-24 at halftime, FSU. 1D tackle from the portal, 2. We should move Travis J to receiver. Yeah, I've been saying that. Don't forget Dustin Hill. Yeah, I don't believe that. Woody to D tackle. If you sign West, I'm okay. And if Woody doesn't flip to Auburn, which is kind of the word, I think keep Woody on that O-line and make him maybe your center. One of the big reasons why I wanted Woody to D tackle, but Tyree West changes that, in my opinion. And sooner or later, Florida State's got to address center. Because Maurice Smith, again, tough player, hard player, all that stuff. He can't hold up. What can you say? Happy Thanksgiving to you, homie. How many D tackles we have committed right now? 2. Bishop Thomas and Daniel Lyons. If this staff doesn't feel like Coleman won't sign, you think they pocket at least one of those JUCO transfers? Still also depends on what Hill does by January, I'm sure. Again, that's why I said, man, give me 2 or 3 wide receivers. I don't even think that's, 3 might be a little excessive, but yeah. Especially if you don't sign a guy like Coleman. Like if you sign Coleman, if you sign Coleman, man, I would still say go after 2. I'm being dead serious. But if you don't sign Coleman and Dustin Hill don't show up, I think you got to take 2 as a minimum. How many years of eligibility does Travis have? So Travis is a sophomore. So he has 2. I like Camden Brown. I like him, and if he's still a take, and if he's willing to leave Pitt, I like Camden Brown. But he's not instant impact, right? He's not going to be your Coleman. He's not going to be your Dustin Hill, who even after sitting out this time, Dustin Hill probably still has a chance to be instant impact. But I like him. But even if you sign him, if your wide receiving class this year is Camden Brown and Mortimer, I like both of those young players. But you got to get the transfer portal and get instant impact guys. 24-3, good guys at the half, 38-17 at the bell. What about Williams from South Carolina wide receivers? I'm not tracking much on him. Is he a transfer? Is he a high school kid? No, Florida gonna out up 10 at least. Florida gonna put up 10 at least. Briley. DB room is definitely loaded. At least 24-10 at half. Don't forget Hunter Washington. Yeah, Hunter's still there. Yep, we still ain't seen Hunter Washington much. Absolutely. What up? Dustin Hill even a real... Yeah, exactly. At this point, man, I think Dustin Hill's a legend. Or not a legend, but a myth. But a ghost. A tale that was created in Florida State lore to scare children at night. Like, has anybody even seen Dustin Hill in real life? Seriously. That loss, when you think about it, like you're glad that they found a way to turn the season around after going 0-4 and being 5-2 at this point. But that JSU loss just kind of pisses you off every time you think about it because we should already be bowl eligible. So I'm with you though. Why not play Travis Hunter on offense next year? He might get some snaps. I think Hunter will get some snaps until he's ready to take that full-time defensive back position. Brownlee to nickel with Knowles. Haven't heard much about Chambry. The initial thought on Chambry was they were bulking him up to play him inside. I don't know if that's still the case, but again, that was one of the better he's one of the better prospects you signed last year. DN, hope they've been developing is all I can say. Any dudes from South Carolina want to transfer? I mean, look at what this staff did for 2 transfers last year. Hey, good point. Good point. The 2 South Carolina guys we got last year were really good for us. So, yeah, I think Florida, man, I'm caught up on all the comments. Is Patrick Payton ready? He might not be ready now, but that's why I want him to make a bowl game. See, like Patrick Payton is one of those guys who I'm invested in. So that's why I want him to make a bowl game. Because I don't believe for a second Jermaine plays in the bowl game. If I'm Mike Norvell, I don't let him play in the bowl game. He's gonna have at least 2 sacks against Florida. So he's going to finish the season with 15, 16 sacks this year. If he has a crazy game, I think he'll hit 16. I think he has 13 now, if I'm correct. So the man's going to finish with 15 sacks this year. I think he's going to have about 2 on whoever lines up at quarterback for Florida. Jermaine's going to eat. If there's one player I know that week in and week out is going to eat, is Jermaine Johnson. So with that being said, there's no way. Speaking of Jermaine Johnson, man, I knew I had something else to talk about. I'll talk about that after this because I was pissed off about what I saw. There's no way if I'm Mike Norvell, I let Jermaine Johnson play a down in that bowl game. Son, you have too much money to lose. I love your passion. I love the fact that you want to be there with your squad. But at a certain point, Florida State, you can sell Jermaine Johnson the top 10 pick in the NFL. You don't want to be trying to sell Jermaine Johnson. Could have been a top 10 pick, but he blew his knee out in the Gasparilla Bowl. You know what I mean? And that goes to my point with the Patrick Payton thing. You take Jermaine and Keir Thomas out of the defensive end rotation. That now Patrick Payton is getting reps he wasn't getting before. And he can still keep his red shirt because he hasn't played that this year. I think I may have seen Patrick Payton play 1 or 2 games this year. Get Patrick Payton in a meaningless bowl game, but it could be meaningful for his future against real competition. He's now ahead of the curve going in the spring, going into winter workouts, spring camp, summer, and all of that. And now all of a sudden he's in that rotation next year. Like, that's why the bowl game to me is so important. George Wilson as well. You're right, Ken. George Wilson as well. Dillingham gave Barnes his first offer. Okay, fair enough. So we'll see what happens with Barnes then. JSU win wouldn't count towards bowl eligibility. Need to beat 6 D1 teams for a bowl. Is that true? I thought you just had to have 6 wins, period. Plus JSU is D1. They're just FCS. I know a lot of people get that confused, but JSU is a D1 program. They're just FCS. It's like it's different now. Division II and FCS is not the same thing. I'll let it play at least a quarter. Man, it sounds good, y'all, and I know, but there's no way I let Jermaine play a quarter. No, not Mike Norvell. What makes Bama's and the Georgias and Florida State was right in that same category, right in that same conversation is 3 and done. Kids are 3 and done. You come to Florida State to go to the NFL. You come to programs like that to go to the NFL. In the long run, Mike's going to be able to sell that he had a top 10 defensive end. Again, you don't want to sell, well, I could have had a top 10 defensive end, but he broke his ankle in the Gasparilla Bowl. Was Travis J playing that bad for real? He was my sleeper, but he been benched. At least give him a reverse or wildcat snap. He was playing pretty bad at DB, man. I can't even lie. And I'm one of them guys, man, that I routinely tried to cat for him and be like, yo, give him a chance. I think Jay's got it. He just every week kept getting beat and one-on-one beat. The same plays that Marion Cooper is not getting beat on, Travis J was. So you kind of go with the player and say, yo, you just not getting the job done. Let's talk about that. If you guys aren't tracking, Jermaine Johnson, one of, if not the most productive defensive end in college football, not up for the Bednarik Award, which consists of the nation's top defensive player. But they have Kayvon Thibodeau. Go check the numbers. Jermaine is probably doubling all of Kayvon Thibodeau's numbers. In every category, Jermaine is by far better than Thibodeau. Jermaine Johnson is single-handedly probably the reason why FSU has won. He almost single-handedly beat Clemson. He's one of the single-handed reasons why you beat Miami. I can't say that about Thibodeau. Has he single-handedly won games for Oregon out there? No. His production shows that he doesn't even have double-digit sacks. So when you talk about, that's what pissed me off. The fact that Jermaine Johnson was not even, I'm not saying that they had to give it to him. I wouldn't have been mad if he didn't win it. The fact that he didn't even make the Final Four cut is a joke. It's like the Heisman. Now the Heisman is like the MVP. So you can put up a gazillion numbers, but if your team's not winning, you're not going to win the Heisman, because the Heisman is like you're the most outstanding player on the most outstanding team is usually how that award goes, or at least the team that's winning. But the Bednarik, in my opinion, has never been looked at like that. Just the most outstanding defensive player. And number 11, you can't find another one, man. Again, you're talking about a guy who's going to finish at Florida State University. He's going to finish with 15 sacks and not get nominated for that award. I think is ridiculous. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. T2I in the building says FSU Florida battle below 500. You lost to a team that's below 500, so I don't really know what you should say there. You should probably look in the mirror and feel disgusted at yourself. And yeah, that's what you should do. Jermaine got his invite to play in the Senior Bowl. Might as well play that bowl game. He shouldn't play in either. I think when Jermaine took that Senior Bowl thing, it was people didn't really know who he was. He was just a Georgia transfer who was trying to make a name for himself. Well, he's Jermaine Johnson now. He doesn't need the Senior Bowl, and he don't need the bowl game. Duval, happy Thanksgiving, man. Travis J was nice at QB in high school. T2I is still, yeah, we know that. Again, Miami fans are still salty. Again, isn't the chat has the past few weeks, man, the chat has been so pleasant without the Miami fans in here. Now, shout out to Kilo. He came through earlier, but did he troll? Nope. Just said, what's up? Kept it moving. It's been so peaceful in here without the Miami fans ever since that loss. I feel you, Pope. Jermaine done spoiled. Yeah. I don't think Kier needs to play either. Yeah, I agree. I don't think Kier needs to play either. Both are proven, and I think Kier could be a 4th or 5th rounder. Jermaine should have made the bet. Should have made it. Should have been a finalist. I'm not saying he had to win it, but there's no reason why he shouldn't have got invited to New York and been a part of that pageantry and that ceremony. He should have made it. Ain't crazy how good this year's edge combo is. I'm not saying the 90s bookends at FSU, but are they more impactful than Bjorn and Tank Carradine? That's an interesting. That one, I think you could have those guys get drafted in like the same order too. Bjorn ended up being a 1st-round pick. I think Jermaine's going to be a 1st-round pick. And I think Tank was like a 3rd or 4th round pick. Tank Carradine actually had a better career than Bjorn Warner, by the way. But Tank Carradine, and I think Keir Thompson is going to be a 3rd or 4th round pick. So I feel that. That list was a joke. 2 of the 4 guys missed multiple games too. Yeah, this absolute joke. Absolute joke. Jermaine is one of the best, and look what he's done. Our defensive line is probably a top 10 defensive line. It's not. If not, never. Hold on, Jeff. Y'all know how I do. I read fast sometimes. A top 10 defense of line, if not, never fire. I don't know what them last 3 words meant. Probably mistyped it. Autocorrect. I got it. If not, never fire. Plus, Tibbs missed 2 or 3 games. I actually watched Oregon play last week, and bro, that's what I'm telling you, Zoe. You got one guy who is – you watch a Florida State game, and I don't care who they're playing. 11 is the best player on – Clemson, he was still the best player on the field. Miami, he's the best player on the field. He's going to be the best player on the field Saturday. I think 30. 31 plus, I can't not see it. I think, I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, right? But I think FSU, the Florida defense isn't good. I think FSU is going to have a chance to. Well, we haven't lost yet, so. But you did lose to a team that lost to Jacksonville State, man. It's crazy. He has to. You can't, that's why you got to respect. If nothing else, you got to respect T2Y. Win, lose, or draw, he got to do what he got to do. At least he don't go ghost. So you always got to respect that. Not a surprise to me. I'm still turning up after beating those candied canes. Boxing hammer game. Do you guys think Fabian played himself? I think Fabian probably goes to the NFL. I don't know. I think if you're Fabian Lovett, now's your best. I don't know if you want to come back next year and be the focal point on the D-line with no Jermaine and no Keir Thomas. Keir Thomas and Jermaine Johnson have Fabian's a beast, but they have drastically improved Fabian Lovett's stock. He should go with them. Now, I don't know what round that is. He has the NFL type body. I don't know. He's not a first rounder. He's probably not a second rounder, but depending on how we test. I definitely think he's a quality defensive tackle that can get in a rotation on an NFL squad. If you're Fabian Lovett, I think you risk it coming. And this is, again, when I'm speaking, I'm not speaking for the best interests of Florida State. I'm speaking of the best interest of the player. If I was speaking for the best interest of Florida State, then yeah, bring Fabian Lovett back. Let Jermaine Johnson play in the bowl game, so on and so forth. If you're Fabian Lovett, you're risking that you come back next year. You know the defensive end play is gonna take a dip. You're gonna be the most scouted player on that whole D line. Teams are gonna key in on you. I just wouldn't do it. I would go. If I'm Fabian, I would go. And Coop might be in that same position, to Nicholas's point. T2Y, you paying our rent for us. Manny should have took Johnson. That's another hurricane thing that I'm tired of it. So somebody correct me if I'm wrong. And if you're a Miami fan, you don't get to speak on this because you're biased. Was there any smoke? Again, I have no insider, so I don't know these things. But all of this stuff has just recently came out. Oh, by the way, Jermaine really wanted to be a Hurricane, but Manny didn't want him. All of a sudden, these rumors are popping up or Miami fans are using these rumors or these excuses to get Manny fired. Jermaine Johnson, that man that had 3 sacks on us and a forced fumble. Yeah, he really wanted to be a Hurricane. He ain't really want to be a Seminole, but Manny didn't want him. They had 8 games to talk about that, and I didn't hear it once. Whole off season. Now, one time did a Hurricane fan say, "Oh, Jermaine Johnson really wanted to come here, but we didn't want him." Now all of a sudden, the man is the best defensive end in the country, and now all of a sudden he wanted to really be a Hurricane. Well, I'm gonna do the same thing Jermaine Johnson did at the end of Saturday. That's what I say. I know Thibodeau was one of them. A DB wasn't. There's a couple guys who are legit on that list, but for the most part, I don't remember the names off the top. Yeah, okay. Not with that load more recruiting class. What up, Tyler? That's what I'm saying. I think I would not be shocked with 3-point win. Like on paper, FSU should win comfortably by 10, 17 points. This thing probably goes into the last 3 minutes with one team up by 3 and got to make a last minute stand or a last minute score. Wouldn't shock me one bit. Oh, I already done debunked that a million times. Yeah, I've got into them guys a million times with that one, Anthony. That we won off that game off of fluke because Miami played so bad. Like if we played a perfect game. Yeah, I've already debunked that one. They usually don't reply when I go back at them on that one. But I'm just curious about this whole Jermaine Johnson all of a sudden wanting to be a Hurricane thing. Miami fans, man. Miami fans are crazy. Manny wanted him for 2 seasons. And yet he didn't get him once. So obviously, if Manny wanted him, but he didn't want Manny. What do you think, Tyler? You think we might lose this game? Again, I'm a little worried about it because on paper, this shouldn't really be, again, no quarterback for these guys, or at least not the guy that started most of their games. No head coach, no defensive coordinator, no O-line coach. I'm with you. Or you just think no fans are gonna eat crow because they are predicting a blowout? I definitely don't think it's gonna be a blowout. But I think Florida State's gonna win this game. Should win this game. It wouldn't shock me if it turned out the other way. Like, again, Florida State, we're not in the position to be. FSU is not yet in a position to where we can look at a schedule or look at a game and start booking games. That's a win. That's a win. No, we're not there yet. So we gotta go out there and prove it. T2Y, we got POLK back. Y'all worry about Duke. We know they ain't scared of the who talk to us. Y'all, when y'all win at least one ACC chip, stop. T2Y, who won the last game ever played at the old Orange Bowl? Hint, they wear garnet and gold. Oh, let them know. No, Emory's not. Emory is like, he's out for this game. They called it season-ending injury. You know, it's easy to say a season-ending injury when a guy is playing, when they're playing literally the last game of the season. But yeah, no, Emory's not going to be the starter in this game. He's not going to play in this game. It's going to be all Anthony Richardson, and he's not even 100%. It's a rivalry game. Anything can happen, especially to this team. Seeing us drop easier games before, absolutely. You're absolutely right. Damn, this man done turned into Gator T2Y that quick. Y'all say what's up to Gator T2Y in the chat. Go ahead and do the chop or whatever. Do that. Y'all say shout out to Gator T2Y in the chat, man. Man, rooting for AR-15. I heard T2Y said something about he used to love Mullen's wife or something like that. I don't know, man. Gator T2Y in the building. Ooh, he sure did, didn't he? I think they won it 2 times officially. One time they were on sanctions and didn't go to the ACC championship game, which wouldn't have mattered because they would have lost that anyway. And then the second time they went and lost to Clemson, if I'm not mistaken. I think they've won the Coastal 2 times officially, but only have played in one ACC championship game. But yeah, man, it's Gator T2Y out there. Man, it all depends on how Florida D-line come to play. And yeah, Florida reported today that Emory Jones practiced? Are you serious? I haven't seen any of that. Last report I saw was that he was done for the year. And the last thing I read was that AR was... Hold on. That's crazy. Like, I just opened my feed, and it goes from an ACL to he actually rolled his ankle. So Emory might actually play. Wow. So actually, that might not be the case. You guys are actually right. I'm just reading it. I literally just opened my phone. The first thing I see is the media initially reported an MCL. Instead, it was probably a rolled ankle. Good chance, Emory Jones. Hey, I don't care who the quarterback is. Jermaine eating them. So I don't care who the quarterback is. Jermaine eating that ass. Pause. No homo. But y'all know what I mean. Gator T2Y and Seminole T2Y coming next year if Manny's still coaching. Man, don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself. Please don't do that to yourself. I mean, I'm going to laugh at it, but I think there's a good chance that you're going to be Gator T2I next year then. But I'm not. I'm just a Florida State fan on the outside, so I have no idea what I'm talking about. I rather go against Emory personally because neither guy is a good thrower to me. But Emory, though he can run, he's not as explosive as AR. AR can take a 5-yard or 10-yard run and take it. Take it. Emory can't do that. I'd much rather play Emory personally. Personally. Neither guy can throw. So I'm not worried of either guy's arm. Won an ACC championship game. The Coastal might be the weak. It definitely is. T2Y needs to go cook something. Please don't be that to the nose, T2Y. So if Emory does play, that's crazy. Like somebody said it and I look it up and it was actually right there on my feed. So Emory might actually play Saturday. I like Florida State's chances regardless, but I actually like them better with Emory Jones. Man. I actually like him better. I'm not worried about either guy's arm, but I think AR is kind of special with his leg. Kind of like Travis. I said it before. It kind of reminds me of a bigger Jordan Travis because the difference is AR is legit, 6'3", 220. In a few years, you could be talking about Anthony Richardson. Once the game slows, you could be talking about him in the same mold as Jordan Travis. Emory is the worst thrower and runner. Don't understand why he's starting to begin with. I don't think either guy. I don't think, and this is saying a lot. I don't think Emory is a worse thrower than AR. Like I've watched them, but again, I guess pick your poison because I don't think either guy can throw the ball that well, not accurately and consistently. No. T2Y going to be sick with Manny. I'm trying to tell you, he gonna get that extent. I don't think he's gonna get an extension for 2. I think there's a great chance. A lot of things aren't lining up in Miami's favor. Again, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just giving my opinion. But the coaching market is wide open. When jobs like Florida, LSU, USC are really the top jobs out there, when you're trying to recruit, like my whole thing with Miami, and I'm going to just say this and we'll leave Miami alone. If you knew who your guy was, Florida didn't waste any time. They fired their guy. LSU didn't waste. They fired their. Why is Miami still holding on to him? It ain't like Manny's holding on to this top tier recruiting class. They're number 60 something in the country. You got to hit load more twice to see where Miami's ranked in recruiting. So Manny has no recruiting class to speak of. What are you holding on to him for? Maybe because you're going to keep him. Maybe because Mario told you, look, man, I'm not done over here in Oregon. Even if I don't get it this year, I'm bringing a lot of guys back next year and a top-tier recruiting class. I want to take another run at this thing next year. That's Mario maybe told him that. And Lane, I don't think is leaving Ole Miss. I think Lane is using his position at Ole Miss to up his money. I don't think Lane's leaving Ole Miss. So your top 2 guys that you think you want, you're not going to get. And so they just going to stick it out with Manny for another year, and then we'll be revisiting this thing next year again with Miami. But that's just my own conspiracy theory and how I see that thing playing out. But again, I don't know what I'm talking about. Because if Manny was really done, they would have fired him already. Because what is he doing to keep his job? Nothing. Oh, but let Miami fans tell you, well, they would owe Manny less money if they wait till December. But I thought money wasn't an issue no more. I thought they was putting unlimited funds in the football program. So what's another $2 or $3 million if money's not an issue anymore? Man, I'm just talking. Let me stop. Anyway, with time, it's a noon game, Island Boy. Hurricane T2Y will put on a season timeout if Manny's still there. I just troll FSU in Florida all year. No, we don't want to see you put on timeout. I just want to make sure if Manny's still there next year, I see Gator T2Y and Seminole T2Y at least once or twice a week. I'm hoping it's week attendance. Manny Diaz is about to get a 10-year contract extension. The Florida fire Muschamp for Dan. No, so Florida went Muschamp, then McElwain, and then Dan. T2Y, that's all you do now. But then again, Miami is just overrated. Does Miami play the Lizards next? When is the next time Miami plays the Lizards? That's actually a great question, Ahmad. I don't know. They usually play like every 3 years or something crazy like that. The last rumor I heard was that they wanted Randy Shannon. I actually heard something similar, that they were going to bring Randy home. That program is broke. No, the money's no issue no more, Zoe. But yet they got to wait till December because they don't want to pay Manny an extra $2 million or $3 million. But they released a statement that it's got unlimited funds for the football program. Man, program. I ain't going to say the program is broke because the truth is I don't think any of these D1 colleges are broke. But that program is a joke. I don't even know what this is in reference to. Does anybody? 24, 25? Oh, that's when y'all next time y'all play Florida. 24. Y'all play them back to back? 20. What, a home and home? Who will Miami hire as OC? I heard Rhett is going to SMU too. I did hear that. Mario can't get out of his personal Nike exclusivity contract, and Miami can't get out of their Adidas contract. Mario ain't happening because Nike founder and Oregon alum ain't having it. McElwain had some of the yellowest teeth. So if y'all didn't see, I put a poll up earlier today where I said, matter of fact, who won this poll? I think when last time I checked, Steve Spurrier was winning the poll. So I put a poll up asking which Florida former Gator had the most punchable face. Tim Tebow, Steve Spurrier, Jim McElwain, Dan Mullen. Spurrier, out of 89 votes, Spurrier got 38%. I think this poll was shocking. First of all, I don't know how you can look at this face. I'm about to bring this guy up and say this isn't the most punchable face that you've ever seen. If I didn't vote in my own poll, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. If I would have voted in this poll, though, this is the guy I would have voted for. But somehow you guys felt like Steve Spurrier. Sometimes you guys felt like Steve Spurrier was the most punchable Gator. Me personally, this guy is. Look at that face. That is a face that you just want to hit in the mouth. Look at his teeth. It's definitely, this is the most punchable face of any Gator. Look at that. His teeth just say, hit me. Right there. Y'all ever seen Step Brothers? Yeah, just, man. I'm telling you, if I would have voted, that he would have got my vote. But y'all say Spurrier, man. Y'all wanted Spurrier, and I understand it. I understand the Spurrier hate. But that face right there, man, let me get that ugly thing out of here. That is the most punchable face. Did he? Kilo, you know I did. With the way Miami is recruiting right now, boy, 20, 24, 25 phone, they won't have enough players to throw out there for a game. I wanted to slap Spurrier in 96. We beat them at Doak, but still had to play them and lost to them in that natty, bro. Miami is broke. They were putting all the money on Nevin Shapiro book. Spurrier was a puss. They hit a QB too hard. What did Spurrier Polk? Do you think we are going to take half the recruits and half portal players, or more recruits than portal? We should. Your approach, in my opinion, should always be you take more high schoolers than you do portal guys. High schoolers are going to sustain your program. Portal guys are good there to patch holes and, you can feel a need. But there's a reason why guys are in the portal. Every once in a while, you can find a Jermaine Johnson. Every once in a while, you might be able to find a gem in the portal. But most of the time, man, you are in the portal for a reason. And you probably lost your job to better play. Whatever the reason. A lot of times people are in the portal for a reason. To expect, look, Jermaine was great. To expect another Jermaine Johnson to pop up is a bit unrealistic. Build your high school recruiting, man. T2Y just mad he won't get to meet Mullen's wife. When they beat y'all in the national championship, they owned y'all forever. Shut up. Shut up. T2Y, y'all haven't won a natty since the Declaration of the Independence. That would be Georgia, but close. There's a whole generation of Hurricane fans who ain't never seen it. My Seminole fans can't say that. That's true now. I don't care if you were born in the 80s, you've seen an FSU championship. If you're born in the 90s, you've still seen an FSU championship. If you're born in the 2000s, you've still seen an FSU championship. Anything after that, you're too young to be watching football anyway. Hell, if you're born in 2010, you were alive to see an FSU championship. You might not remember it, but if you're born in 2010, you're still alive to see it. There's a whole generation of Miami fans that are 20 years old that ain't never seen it. It was still swimming in their daddy's nuts. The last time Miami won a championship. I'm on fire today. I'm on fire today. Yeah, I'm on fire today, man. Me too. I've been alive for all three. If you're at least 30 years old, you've been alive for all three national championships if you're a Florida State Seminole fan. If you're 20 years old, you've still been able to watch a national championship as a Florida State fan. Crazy. There you go. I'm 15. Seminole J says, I'm 15 and I seen a natty. There's not a 15-year-old Miami Hurricane fan that can say that, Seminole J. Remember, anytime you meet them, let them know. There's not a 15-year-old in America that's ever seen a Hurricane win a national championship. Again, hell, there's not a 20-year-old who's ever seen a Hurricane win a national championship. The same way we've stopped everybody's ground attack, Jalen. Florida State's been great against the run all year. So your D-line gets the pressure that it's been getting, and it is, Florida doesn't do anything that we haven't already seen this year. And quite frankly, Emory Jones, if he plays, or AR if he plays, look at the quarterbacks that FSU's played this year. FSU's played, this is the only nice thing I'm going to say about Miami tonight, but they played Tyler Van Dyke, O'Leary at NC State, Cunningham at if Cunningham ain't kill us like that, I don't see Emory Jones. Cunningham's a better quarterback than Emory Jones. So we just got to do what we've been doing all year. Yet we still have more than y'all. Yeah, but you ain't lived to see them. Guess what? The Miami Dolphins have an undefeated season. But unless you lived through the 70s, you probably shouldn't brag about that. Notre Dame got a ton of natties, but the game wasn't segregated then, so they shouldn't count. Y'all won in the 80s. Congratulations. Let them know, Jeff. Preach, Polk. LOL. They living off Ed Reed and them there now. And the sad part is these kids don't know these guys. These kids are watching Jalen Ramsey, though. Asante Samuel and Derwin James. Kids don't know who Ed Reed is. He's just some old dude with a beard, man. Oh, I'm gonna get a lot of hate from Miami fans for saying that. I already know it. I see it coming. But the facts are the facts. Man, these kids in college today don't know who Ed Reed is. They heard about him. The only reason they know who Deion is because Deion used to do the Under Armour games. But Deion's is more of a celebrity than Ed Reed ever was anyway. They don't know who these dudes are. They damn sure don't know who Michael Irvin was. They don't know Michael Irvin. I remember Michael Irvin because he would play for the Cowboys when I was growing up. I remember Mike. Cocaine and all. They don't know who Michael Irvin is. They don't know who Warren Sapp is. I remember Warren Sapp playing on one of the best defenses of all time in Tampa Bay. They don't know who Warren Sapp is. And they don't know who none of these Miami greats that all these guys talk about. None of them. The best Miami player in these guys' lifetime is probably Calais Campbell. Probably the best Miami player in these guys' lifetimes that these kids have seen. Calais Campbell. Yeah, that year that Mark Richt blew that game for us because he was already checked out for the Georgia game. Or he was taking the Georgia job. I think T2Y's 30-something. So T2Y has been alive to see one. He's seen one natty in his lifetime. He ain't been able to live through three like we have. Well, we did. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, but we did. Yes, sir. My pops is a Kane fan. We always go out to the bar every year for the game. I had to pat him on the back. I know. All right. That's why Miami could make the ACC Coastal this season, but Miami choked the lead against FSU. T2I was born in 21 in the southeastern Georgia. When you go to Hard Rock, at least you will be comfy because there's no one in the stands. POLK, I was loving FSU when they were in the Metro Conference. Get coked up Michael Irvin to coach y'all. Deion Sanders, Ed Reed. It ain't even close. 3.58 ball. Yeah, see, y'all killing me. See, I say stuff and y'all killing me now. Y'all killing Mike. And I'm be honest with you. Michael Irvin was before Randy Moss came along. Michael Irvin was my favorite wide receiver growing up. I thought he was a dog. I think, but cocaine's a hell of a drug. I was actually a Michael Irvin fan. But to my point, again, these guys don't know these guys, man, and that's just the truth. Remember '88 when we beat you? No, because I was just born in '88, so no one remembers that. But in '97, did we not beat Miami like 47-0? Let me look that up. Because you was old enough to watch that one, T2Y. Wasn't it 97? Corey Hall or one of you guys? I know you guys know. FSU versus UM 97. For 47-0. So y'all can talk about 52-10 all you want, but 47-0 happened. 47 goose egg. Since we just going down memory lane and all. All right, Kilo, man, I appreciate you. Hey, shout out to Dolph, man. Yes, the Knowles shut them out in 97. We used to call Michael Irvin Dope Fiend Willie here and there. Yeah, it was 97. I had to double check, but I was pretty sure it was 97. But at the end of the day, let's get back to these Gators, and then we're going to close it out. I think FSU should be favored. I know we're not favored, but I think the consensus is that Florida State should win this game. I think we should win this game. I think everything sets up for us to win this game. However, rivalry games, man, we've seen crazier things happen. I do not believe Florida comes into that game and just lays down. I don't think Florida's just going to come in there and lay down. I think Florida's going to come in there and play. What I would love in a perfect situation is that we just step on their throats. Is that even with them playing hard, we're able to do that. I don't think this Florida State team's at a level where we can just go in there and waltz in there with the Conor McGregor walk, like if we just about to own the place, right? We're not there yet. Go in there, play hard, play with the same passion you played against Miami, play with the same passion you played against Boston College. Keep up that. I think you leave Gainesville with a win. We get those extra 15 practices. We're playing in a bowl game sometime in December. That's what I think. That's what I'm hoping. But I don't think this game is just going to be a walkover. I don't think this is going to be easy. Florida, these kids, look, these kids know about this game. These kids, they wear their orange and blue, and we wear our garnet and gold. But, a lot of these kids grew up on this game. They know what this game means. So, you can, what's the old saying? I'll be owing whatever as long as I beat them Gators. And I think Florida's going to come in there with that mentality. We can be coachless. We can be 5-6. We can miss a bowl game, but if we can beat them Seminoles, that's all that's going to matter to them. I think we need to have that same mentality. As long as we beat them Gators. So I look forward to it, man. I think it's going to be a fun game. Here we go with them 76. One alive. Man. But good show tonight, guys. Thanks everybody who stopped in. Again, everybody stay safe for the holidays. I'm going to probably eat myself into a coma tomorrow. I'm not going to lie to you. Hell, I'll probably be full by the time tonight's over with all the taste testing I'm about to do. But y'all have a good holidays. And of course, y'all going to see me Saturday, man. Saturday, y'all going to see me halftime. And then at the end of the game, so be sure to tune in. If you didn't hit that like button when you came in, man, hit my like button on your way out. Show your love. Hit that like button. As always, that's the best way you can support the channel. You can always become an 863 Tribe member if that's what you want, but you don't have to. Benefits of being an 863 Tribe member, you may ask. I do the free giveaways. I've given away free hoodies, given away the free 4th and 14 Jordan Travis apparel, and I'm going to continue to do more going forward. That's the benefit of being an 863 Tribe member. But the best way you can support the channel, man, like and share it. Liking it and sharing it, man. Those are the two best ways. Liking it helps the algorithm pick up. So when someone types in, I want to look up some Florida State stuff, they find the channel off the rip because a lot of people are liking it. And then, of course, sharing it with people. Like, hey, you a Florida State buddy, you a Florida State fan, you like listening to sports talk. Well, come check this guy out, man. He might be somebody. Before we get out of here, Jeff. Hold on. My connection's unstable. Man, I don't know if we're back or not. I don't know if you guys can hear me. My connection just in the middle of me talking is cut off on me. It doesn't look like y'all can see me. Yeah, my connection is shit in bed, man. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, I got a terrible connection right now. Seminole J says we can hear me, but I don't know if y'all can see me or what's the deal. But if you can hear me, okay, I'm gonna close it out because the connection just like that, just I don't know what's going on with the internet. So I'm gonna close it out, guys. Jeff, thank you for the $5, man. You dropped the $5 and messed up the whole connection, man. But thank you for the $5 donation. As always, man, it's your boy Polk over here on 863 Seminole TV. Stay classy, Seminoles. And we out here, man. I will see you guys Saturday. Go Noles, man. Let's beat these Gators. Let's beat these Gators and get us some Gator tail, man. You guys have a good night.